So the previous transmission, Cosmic Love has mentioned about, how do we let go of the things or the people or the relationships that we feel are maybe not in congruence or resonance. And one of the most significant pieces that really struck me that Cosmic Love shared is where she was mentioning how it's not really about okay, I'm never going to talk to this person again. It's about the releasing of the patterns and the letting go of those old ways of relating that aren't in congruence with really the highest and with love. And the mind, for me anyway, the mind would get in the way when I'd hear, okay, I need to let go of everything and everyone. I'm like, well, what does that look like? How do I do that? And so that just really was significant to hear, the description of, okay, it's not closing the door on that person, saying I'm never going to talk to you again, or I'm never going to see you again. It's, and the letting go of attachments is such a significant piece. It's the attachment to the person or even the thing. It's not necessarily letting the actual form go. And that's where the confusion came in my own mind. And so, and how do I navigate that? So yeah, just looking at how really recognizing it is just the attachment that we're letting go of. And that is an old patterning and an old way that just doesn't work, that isn't in alignment with love. And just seeing how when we do let go of that attachment, it allows for the true, authentic relating, the true nature of what that, if we're looking at a person, then that relationship is actually potentially capable of in the highest expression. And wow, a whole different way. I know a lot of my relating in old relationship with family and with beloved and all of that could be at times from a place of surface. And just the conditioning that we can fall into, and recognizing that that's not real and it's not authentic. And seeing how when the attachment is released and we let go of those old patternings and releasing all of that, then what's left is love. And then it opens up a doorway for what it's truly meant to, how that is meant to be experienced and expressed through that relationship, through that connection. And ultimately what we're looking at is it's true love, and how that's the only thing that's real. And the mind says, oh my God, that's terrifying. I know that's what I've been experiencing, with this releasing of what I might call my children and my beloved. And the mind goes, oh my God, what does that look like if I release? What if I let go of the way that it looked? What, oh my God. So it did bring up terror inside of me. And when I actually was able to recognize that really just complete letting go, complete surrender, complete trust in the process, and feeling the feeling and going into the terror, going into the sadness, going into all those feelings that it triggered, and to actually move all the way through them to the other side, which is really a place of complete surrender. And for me, it's like lying in the arms of the divine cosmic mother. And then I'm able to breathe and go, oh, now there's just love. And then that's where everything that's true actually can open. So, yeah, that's what I felt to share.
Thank you. So powerful. It is the shifting of relationship dynamics that we are in. That is what we are releasing, is relationship patterns. Even though the genes aren't real and they don't exist. The 40-37 partner. And that's called tribal blood bonds. Those two genes determine how all humans relate to each other. And the world that we are transcending out of, that we have transcended out of, was a world of hierarchy in the tribe. Hierarchy in the tribe meant, at the shadow frequency of the density that we experienced, meant that there was always one at the top, many at the bottom, and beneath the many at the bottom was a scapegoat. So there's always one that is at the very bottom, below the pyramid. And that one is the one that is scapegoat. So interesting that in Maya's work, she had written that Osiris is beneath the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. That his crystal skull had been removed and placed under the Great Pyramid, and Osiris was divided into many pieces. Yeah, 14. I always want to say 13. I think 13 is the correct number, but lots of writings say 14. Anyways. So we are evolving out of a set of conditions called relationship dynamics. That's where we are letting go. So if all of humanity understood the process collectively, consciously, it would be effortless. And as Bruce Lipton talks about the imaginal cells in the butterfly and the cocoon of the caterpillar, the imaginal cells are the ones that guide the way. And the immune system of the caterpillar actually, when the imaginal cells start to show up, the immune system attacks the imaginal cells. Because ultimately the imaginal cells will break down the structure of the caterpillar from the inside out. So for many of we on the planet who are now in this phase of our ascension, that's what we have been doing for aeons, is deconstructing the structure of the caterpillar from the inside out. Which is why ascension is an inside job, and each one of us does it inside of ourselves. And our external world is our playground to practice on, to do the deconstruction piece. But the deconstruction is not the deconstruction of life or of love. Life is eternal. The deconstruction is of the relation dynamics of polarized 3D. Which is why when we are on the path to be supported by reflections, by imaginal cells who are in the same process together. Because this is a process of supra-intelligent consciousness that is coming through. We are responding, we are listening to the call. The call is in every we on the earth plane and throughout the cosmos, because there is a cosmic calibration going on. Just like when we see cymatics, sand on a metal plate, and different frequencies are run through it, and each time the frequency is shifted to a higher frequency, the pattern of the sand shifts on the plate. So in March Miracle Coordinate, when the guidance said resistance is non-existent, it means it's happening through all of we. So if people are making choices that feel difficult in unwinding themselves from relationship dynamics of 3D with family, with beloveds, with friends, with their external reality, with food, with shelter, with all of these things, those who are doing this consciously are the ones who are surfing the wave. And any aspect within us that is unconscious is coming along just the same. So those who may feel like they've been at the front with the machete, paving the way through the jungle. Here's another beautiful metaphor from the guidance. So we all went into the jungle of life, of knowledge, or the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We all went into the forest or the jungle, and we all paved our own way. And so some went farther into the jungle, and others turned around before. And because the pathway home to Source had grown over the jungle, that path had grown over in the jungle, some of we were designed to, quotation marks, go home first. The scouts, the trackers, the ones who knew how to find the way back to Source, turned around, quotation marks, sooner, called the imaginal cells, and started paving the way back to the center, back to the singularity, back to Source, while others were still investigating farther in the extremes of polarized consciousness. But it's all still one great cosmic team. And that's why we are heading towards the celebration, because everything now has been turned around. We have reached the limits and the boundaries of this exploration. The thunder beings.
And I just spotted the thunder beings about 20 seconds ago.
And it was such a unique sound of thunder.
Yeah, very unique.
Like it sounded like it was right here in the cottage.
Confirmation.
So the imaginal cells in linear time, quotation marks, turned around early and started paving the way back home. And so for each imaginal cell, it may have felt like a very alone journey. as each imaginal cell was forging the ground from the masses back towards the center, carving new paths in the forest, or paving, let's use a different word than paving, but creating new neural networks home in thought consciousness. And in the 3D realms of the tree of knowledge, that was the black sheep going home, or going wonky, or going sideways in the perception of the collective. And simultaneous in the metaphor, what the guidance is showing is that the farther each one of we went out into the jungle to the extreme boundaries of this, thank we thunder, the extreme boundaries of this exploration of this container, of which justice is now being served through the 60th gene, which is the relinquishing of this container, this hologram of good and evil. So the farther we as explorers went out, the more distant we became from each other and from the source in a linear way. Not quantumly, but in a linear path. So each we that veered farther to the edges of the event horizon became more distant from each other and from the source. And so for those imaginal cells that turned around, quotation marks, early, to begin to create the pathways home, to source, to the singularity, to oneness, to unity, to unification of the consciousness. That became the masses, possibly lost in the forest trails of thought consciousness, and so disconnected from source and from each other. And that's where the judgment has been felt by the imaginal cells, by the essence that is so far out, so disconnected from thought consciousness of the one. And that's the freighter that had to be turned around. No one left behind. So it required patience, diligence, commitment, focus. And what happened for many imaginal cells, particularly the month of July, which was perfectly designed for it, was the sense of giving up. Losing all hope and all faith, because the imaginal cells had left that exploration early to begin to forge the way. And the imaginal cells were beginning to wonder if everything that they had given up on that exploration and journey of the tree of knowledge had been worth giving up, because each imaginal cell had family and friends and a life that they had forged in this hologram, in these trails, in the forests and the jungles. And finally said, I'm going to show the way, so you're welcome to join me, but I can't wait here anymore. And I will forge the way. And I will keep going. And I promise I will always have my hand out to each of we when we are ready to make the quantum leap. Which is why we don't close the door. That's the mind's way of dealing with the pain of what it perceives as separation, by letting go of the current conditions to open the way for so much more. Way showers. And that is the greatest act of love. And so when way showers find each other, which is what is now occurring quantumly, the way showers are in this frequency of cosmic love. Not really a frequency, but I'll just say that. See, frequency is a wave pattern that has a polarized up and down. Cosmic love is all pervading, so there's no wave. It is the consciousness of the one. The way showers are communing and coordinated in the heavenly formation, the heavenly Eucharist, not the one of the church, but of the collective monad of all of creation. The way showers have found their way, and the way showers are beginning to commune and to organize and be organized together in the most beautiful, profound, and the guidance wants to say effective and efficient ways. We're looking for a more romantic term. The way showers are being organized in the most beautiful, elegant ways. To double up, triple up, to work in or play in collaboration to open the veils for all of the selves, all of the cells, for quantum communion in cosmic quantum love. So if there is any piece that is worth repeating, it is to say that in our releasing and letting go, this greatest act of love, we are releasing each other from the confines of the relationship dynamics that brought us together, or the relationship dynamics that were created by our polarized blueprints interacting with each other. We are not polarity beings at source. We are plasma. And we are one. We are whole. We are holistic. The most fun is to be in relationships and partnerships that continue to release each other and find each other in the quantum again and again, over and over, in new, miraculous, remarkable, mysterious ways. Because in this kind of dynamic, which is quantum, when we can't go linear, go quantum, we become perfects, my word for masters, in the quantum field. This piece that Symphonic was sharing about feeling like she's floating and looking for a place for her feet to land. This is like jumping on a trampoline, but then suddenly the trampoline is dissolved and we are in the quantum. This is what we have been doing, is jumping and leaping over and over into these miraculous experiences together and then coming back down onto the trampoline for a foundation to leap again into these miraculous experiences. So we all have miracles in our field that we've experienced, and then we came down to jump again. The trampoline is dissolving and all of the miracles are connecting our consciousness into the miracle coordinate beyond what the mind might imagine. It is what we have all dreamed. Sometimes our mind and our eyes cannot believe what we cannot see. Trust that our heart knows the way. To and in the quantum, and play and celebrate, as the Hopi prophecy says. Push ourselves off from the edge of the river, keep our heads above the water. Look around, see who is there with us, and celebrate. For this is a time of celebration. And the quantum knows the destination because we have all been planting the seeds in the field of the dreams for aeons. And it is the miracle to ignite the 60th gene. Source coordinate.